to Diesel Diaries, where we talk all things trucking and help you navigate the industry one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Lori McNaughton, Director of Operations for a Specialized Division. Today I've got Tom Free joining me. Yeah. Tom, thank you for joining.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
How long have you been driving?
Right at 40 years, a little over.
40 years.
Yeah.
I know I got to talk to you a little bit yesterday,
yes.
and maybe I end up throwing some repeat questions in there, but has that always been open deck?
Primarily, yes. There was a period of time when I bought my first truck that I did containers.
Okay.
And then there was a period of time where I did power only, but power only is just whatever is there.
Yeah.
But most of it's been open deck.
Okay. And today, all heavy haul?
All heavy haul.
How long have you been heavy haul?
About 6 years.
Okay. So long enough.
It's been a little while.
What is the biggest thing you've hauled? People want to know.
The biggest I've hauled, height-wise, is probably 16 foot, 16 and a half foot. The biggest width-wise is 24 foot.
Holy crap.
I take it back 26.
How do you even move something like that down the road?
Very carefully.
Like 16 feet, is that when they start bringing out like utility services and they're moving stuff out of the way?
It depends on where you're at. Power lines, lights. When you start getting into the bigger widths, then you start dealing with police escorts, and of course you always have the pilot cars.
24 feet. I mean, you're taking up multiple lanes.
I take up the highway.
3. Yeah. So they shut down.
No, they don't shut it down. It's just I'm like a big rolling roadblock.
So oncoming traffic, really your escorts have to get ahead far enough. Like, how many front escorts do you have?
On a load like that, usually one and a highway patrol escort in front too.
Okay, so highway patrol is probably a little further ahead, and they're slowing traffic down. Like, hey,
and they'll wave traffic over when people pay attention.
Man, that seems insane. White knuckled the whole time?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
I think I'd be a little nervous, just because you can't predict what other people are going to do. You know.
When you get up into heavy haul, if you get nervous, you relay that to your pilot cars in your voice.
Sure.
So you have to stay calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
You don't need the rest of the team getting.
No.
Yeah.
It's like I tell all my pilot cars, if anybody on this load is going to stress, it's me. And if I ain't stressing, you don't need to be.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
I try not to stress.
When I think about loads that big, and I think about like pre-trip meetings, those seem like absolutely critical when you're hauling something that large.
It's very critical, and in heavy haul in general, you have to know where you're going to stop for the night or where you can stop for the night.
Yeah.
You also have to know where you can fuel.
Sure. Yeah, I suppose it's not like you can just get off any ramp and into any truck stop.
No, we don't fit in a lot of them.
Yeah. So do you get help, like, from inside the office, too, trying to help find, like, here are places that'll work?
No, mostly I do that myself.
Do ya?
Google Maps, that's a big improvement over what we used to have.
Sure.
You just had paper maps, and that's what you had to go by. And now we've got Google Maps. I run a Garmin GPS up on my dash, and I go through that, and sometimes I have to go through it every night. So even when I stop, I still have work that I have to do. And I go through and I pin my turns.
For your next day?
Mm-hmm.
So backtracking a little bit, but those pre-trip meetings, what does that look like? You're pulling escorts together and you guys are talking about...
You just bring your escorts together, and I try to plan 3 different stops that I want to get to if it's going to be a multiple day trip. 1 stop if we have a really good day. 1 stop if it's not quite so good. And then 1 stop if the day really stinks.
Yeah. So you're giving yourself a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Yes.
So you're not finding yourself in...
No, you have to plan ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. That's a ton of responsibility.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely, it is. You're not just responsible for yourself and that load, but now you have your team of escorts that you also have to look out for.
Yes.
The motoring public,
Yes.
who, let's be real, not always very attentive.
They don't pay attention very well.
Yeah, yeah.
So their attention span is really short.
Do you guys debrief at the end of the day? You talk about how the day went, or does it depend?
It depends. And part of it depends on the escorts that I'm with, because a lot of times I run with the same escorts. And I prefer that because I know what to expect from them and they know what to expect from me.
Yeah.
And it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, I would imagine so. You kind of build that relationship. You guys know how
Yes.
each other work. Communication, obviously critical to your operation when you're out
Yes.
on the road. How is it? Is it based on? Is it driver preference? Is there some sort of like key that any driver in your situation is going to recognize these call outs? Like there's something on the side of the road that you
No.
need to be aware of. Does everybody kind of do it the same?
Yes and no. It's a lot the same as far as calling out lanes, because we call it lanes by numbers from left to right. And it's not the same in that I wouldn't necessarily require the same things being called back to me, nor would I want to hear as some people do.
Sure.
Some drivers need more input. For me, if it's something that's going to affect the load, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
If it's a piece of rubber that's over by the grass line, I could really care less.
Sure. If it's not in your
It's not-
line of travel.
It's not pertinent to me. It's not
Gotcha.
pertinent to my load.
Yeah.
It gets a little hairy sometimes. I haul rocket rings. There's a group of us that do. And
A rocket what?
rocket rings, they're rings that we pick them up in
Oh.
Detroit and Cincinnati and take them to Indianapolis. And sometimes we get them from Indianapolis all the way down to Cape Canaveral.
Okay.
And those are 24 foot wide.
Holy crap.
And those are done on a flatbed. They don't weigh that much. They're just big.
What do you use to secure it? Is it straps?
Straps.
They're so light. Are they like aluminum or just real light metal or something?
They're in containers, cases
Okay.
that they have built.
Sure.
The guy in Cincinnati told me that they pay $20,000 to have one of the containers built.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, just to hold the ring.
That's insane.
It is, but you have to have a lot of strength underneath it to keep the wing from the ring from flapping.
Sure. Getting those bends.
And then that has to be entirely tarped, and that takes usually 6 tarps.
Holy crap.
So a lot of work.
Yeah, you get a workout that day.
I get a workout every day, just about.
I believe it. Crazy. It's crazy stuff to me. Okay. So moving along, got a little sidetracked. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
National fuel average this week, 373. Not sure if you knew that.
Well, ATS pays a healthy price for my fuel. I stay within the parameters that they want,
Yeah.
pretty much. But it depends on the load. I've had loads that would give me 2.5 miles to the gallon.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah, so I sold my truck about 8 or 10 years ago, and I don't miss it.
How big are those tanks?
On the heavy haul trucks,
Yeah.
we have an 80-gallon tank on one side. We haul roughly 200 gallons.
200 gallons of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 miles to the gallon. You're
Yep.
not getting very far.
Nope.
And then to find places where you can actually get in fuel each time.
Well, then we have our routes, because we don't get to normally pick the way we go.
Sure. Yep.
The individual states route us,
Yep.
and
You get the route surveys, right? They're doing that too.
Sometimes there's route surveys, depending on the size.
Sure.
But the routes that we get are sometimes fun.
I believe it.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on 2 lanes some days.
So I'm not going to speak ill of any state, but I do have to share this. Just this morning, I was told about, and this was on the flatbed side, so much smaller than you're doing. And it was over height only. I want to say it was like 14. Or maybe even 13, 11. I mean, it was barely over legal. But legal width, 8.6 wide. It was on an RGN. And one of the states' route that they gave us took us over a pretty steep railroad track. So yesterday evening, driver called in and they're like, whoa, I don't think we should be taking this route. Here's why. So got him to a safe haven and had to call local authorities and reorder permit. We didn't catch it. The office, we don't always follow the route step by step, right? So we didn't catch that it was taking us over these railroad tracks. But I'm sure you know full well that railroad tracks are not always a driver's friend.
No, they're not.
So, yeah, it was interesting because, you're sending in the permit department. They're sending in exactly what we're hauling, what we're using. We need that support from the state to know.
Well, a lot of states have gone to where the people that actually do the permits are contract. Or they've gone to computer programs.
Yes.
Computer programs are only as reliable as the person inputting the information.
Yeah.
So, bad information in, bad information out.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, we caught it before we got there, but that's crazy.
That's part of going over your permits. If it's a big thing to go over your permits. I use Google Maps and I look at turns that I have to make. If I see tracks in a town, I will try to go down to Street View and look at the tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Because that
Smart.
keeps me off high center.
Yeah.
I recently did high center a load, but it wasn't on tracks. It was on a road, and then I couldn't have seen that.
Not like an intersection or anything. It was just straight away.
No, it was an intersection.
Intersection.
Yeah, it was in Texas, and I was turning from one road to another. It was small 2-lane to small 2-lane, and I was 100 foot long.
All right.
And there was a culvert on one side. I couldn't drop the trailer in the culvert, so I was having to go past the edge of the road into the grass, and the road had a pretty good crown to it. So
Yeah. What were you hauling at that time?
a module.
What does that weigh?
A building. That one was, I want to say it was only like 30,000, 40,000 pounds.
Okay.
But with the trailer stretched out, the further you stretch it out,
Yeah.
the lower it's going to sag with
Yeah.
the weight.
Sure.
So,
Somebody had to come out and help you get
oh yeah.
it off of there. Is it just a wrecker or?
Yeah, it
what
was
kind
just a
of
tow
equipment?
truck, and I called the sheriff's department right away, and they came out.
Traffic control.
They're used to it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So the only thing I gotta say about fuel is, boo. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I'm tired of paying for fuel.
I think everybody's tired of high fuel prices and high
It's
groceries.
crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, before I move on, what's the lowest price of fuel that you can remember? 40 years, that's a long time.
I can remember less than $1 a gallon.
Really?
Yes.
For diesel?
Yes, but I can also remember pulling into truck stops where you pull in and the driver basically gets out, goes inside, goes to the restroom, gets coffee, and they had people that were there that would check your oil, clean your windshield.
Full serve.
Yes.
Or full service.
Yep.
How great would that be?
And that was just about everywhere you went.
Check fluids. They top you off
Yep.
if that's what you wanted. They clean your windows.
They take care of everything.
It's bananas. What happened to that, you know?
It went away with the computer age.
Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with computers.
I do too. Mostly it's hate. So.
All right. How do you feel about coffee? Are you a coffee drinker?
I am.
Okay. Do you purchase coffee at truck stops?
Sometimes. Sometimes I make it myself.
You're going to get better coffee every time.
Love's has got about the best coffee out on the road.
Do they?
They clean their urns, their equipment. Every shift they clean it.
Oh, really?
So I've been into a TA where it looked like the coffee urn was full, but that's because the sight glass was stained.
Yep. Yeah, I see that all the time.
Yeah, I didn't want to drink that.
Yeah, it's going to taste burnt and
So
yeah, it's no good. The average cost, and I don't know anybody who's buying a small cup, but that's what I got today. Average cost of a small cup of coffee, $1.19 at your Speedways, up to $2.29 at your 7-Elevens.
it is.
That's crazy too.
No,
It's coffee.
That's why I buy a thermos.
Yes. Smart thinking. Smart thinking.
That way I get 2 or 3 cups.
Yeah. I stop at 2. Otherwise I get all jittery.
Sometimes
shaking.
I stop at 2.
My palms are sweaty. I talk
see.
too fast.
I can drink coffee or Dr. Pepper and go straight to bed.
Really?
Yes.
I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that. Getting all jacked up.
If you want to stay awake, don't drink coffee.
What do you drink?
Orange juice.
Orange juice?
Orange juice will keep you more awake than coffee.
Tell me more. This feels like an old wives' tale.
No,
What is it about orange juice that keeps you awake?
I don't know. But it keeps me awake.
You've tested that. Oh, it works for you.
Yeah.
That seems, I cannot think of a single thing in orange juice that would do that. But I don't know a lot about oranges other than I like them.
There you go.
Yeah. I know they have good stuff in them for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mostly.
Okay. All right. So the thing I wanted to talk about today, I know we've actually covered quite a bit already, but weather and the road, bad weather. So tips for navigating storms. That's what I'm looking for. And from a man who's been on the road for 40-ish years, I feel like you're going to have some good advice.
Yeah, don't go in them.
Well, how do you avoid them?
I look at weather apps. Most of the time with a permitted load, there's weather conditions, and with every state, that's a gray area. It's they leave a lot of latitude in that for the troopers.
So you mean in the permit, it's giving you some restrictions?
Yes.
But they're kind of subjective.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
So I watch the weather apps and see where I'm going, what the weather's going to be like. I'll look at different points along the way. If there's a storm coming in, you're better off to go ahead and park, wait it out, and then carry on after.
How far out do you look? Like hours, or I'm assuming, well, maybe you are looking out days, but you're still watching that.
I look at each day, and I watch the radar on it. Works out for me.
Yeah. You ever get caught in a storm?
Sure.
And then what?
You go to the next place you can.
Next safe haven?
Yeah, that's all you had. That's all you can do.
Yeah. So,
you slow down. You just slow down, become more vigilant. Put your flashers on, by all means.
make sure you can be seen.
And don't slow down in the left lane like I've seen people do.
Yeah.
Go to the right lane, slow down. If traffic slows down in front of you, slow down.
Yeah.
I'll promise you there ain't nothing I put on my trailer that's worth my life or somebody else's.
Amen. Totally agree with you.
So,
just ain't worth it.
If a customer's in a real big hurry, and I believe in customer service, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to jeopardize my life or other people's lives just to satisfy them.
Yeah.
If they wanted it like that, they maybe should have ordered it a week earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fair.
So
I think that's one thing I feel like customers are getting better about. I think, and I've only been, how long has it been? It's been 16 years that I've been in the industry. And I think back to like the beginning, and it was very much like, we have a need and we're paying you to meet that need.
Yeah.
And while I understand, I don't think they necessarily, maybe we're educated enough about, some of the stuff our drivers are faced with and the decisions that they have to make sometimes like that.
They aren't. They still aren't.
But I do feel that they're getting better about it.
They're
and
getting
part
better.
of that is the communication, right? And to your point, you're watching stuff days ahead. You keep an eye on the radar. Every time you stop, you're probably checking, okay, what's the weather look like on this next leg or what have you. You're probably checking that radar again just to make sure everything's good. You being so diligent and disciplined to keep such a close eye on it, and then communicating back to the office like, hey, here's what's coming, I'm going to stay parked. Gives us the opportunity to communicate earlier. And I think our customers appreciate that, right? They have a better understanding. They're able to make arrangements in advance. They're not getting hit with additional fees or charges, whether it be for storage or hiring a crane and a crew or whatever it is, right? They have expenses too. So the further out we can look, the earlier we can communicate, the more appreciative they are and understanding. So.
Well, the big thing is, and ATS has always been good to me about this. If I call in and I tell my dispatcher, look, I'm seeing this weather up ahead. I'm going to be parking it early. Whatever.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with that, but my dispatcher also knows me, and he knows that I'm not just going to call him and tell him that because I don't feel like doing something.
Right.
And these younger drivers, they need to know that. If you see weather ahead that you are really uncomfortable with, don't put yourself in an uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
If you do, you're going to mess up.
Yep.
But be aware at the same time that your dispatcher can do the same thing you are. He can get right on there and look at the weather coming up, and if you tell him that you see a storm a couple hours out and he looks and it's all sunny, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I can tell you firsthand that dispatchers are looking, because when they go back and communicate to customer service, they want to make sure that they know what they're talking about,
Exactly.
right? Customer service comes back and asks them questions, they have the answers. So they definitely do. They're looking.
Well, I'm real fortunate. I've had good dispatchers that don't push me to the point where I feel like I have to do.
Yeah,
it's
that's good.
And there are companies that will push their drivers that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, if you feel like you're getting pushed that way, you need to take it up with somebody higher than your dispatcher. And if you still feel like there's a problem there, you need to find a different line of work.
Yeah.
Or a different company to work for.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you.
So
I started out as a dispatcher when I started with ATS. And it took me a little bit because I was young and thought I knew a lot. But I had some really great drivers make sure I understood I did not know a lot. And I am grateful for them. Let me tell you what, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have learned all the things I know today. But anyway, where I was going with that is I feel like the best way to be successful, and not just for a driver, but for a dispatcher too, you have to understand that you're not anybody's boss. If you can work towards a partnership.
Exactly.
It is so much easier. If I had questions, 9 times out of 10, I might have knocked on my neighbor's door quite a bit, but I also called drivers quite a bit. I called my drivers and I would say, hey, here's what I got going on. What would you do?
Well, I have a thing, and I talk about it with every dispatcher I've ever had here. I'm not going to lie to you. I will tell you the absolute truth. If I'm running late one day because I didn't get up on time,
Yeah, shoot me straight.
I will tell you exactly that. On the same token, do not lie to me.
Yep.
Because if you lie to me, you've lost credibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
A dispatcher-driver relationship is similar to a good marriage. It is.
I laugh, but it's true. And I've had drivers say the same thing. Call me their work wife.
Well, it's that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's in a marriage, you're not going to sit there and lie to your spouse. Not if you want to keep a good relationship. You're
Right. Not if you want to stay married.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But same thing with a driver and a dispatcher.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing the dispatchers, a lot of them need to understand. A lot of them are young, they learn it eventually, but because you're the dispatcher doesn't mean you're the boss.
Right. You're the eyes and ears.
Yeah, when the rubber meets the road, the driver is the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
That's his truck, his load.
Yeah.
He needs to make the dispatcher happy, sure, but not by taking risk.
Agree. At the end of the day, it's as simple as if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have a job.
True. But if it weren't for the company, the driver wouldn't have a job.
Also true. There's a delicate balance.
It's a very delicate balance.
Yeah.
As long as the company takes good care of the driver and the dispatcher takes good care of the driver and the driver takes good care of the company and the dispatcher, that whole triangle works together very well.
Yeah.
When something doesn't go right, when you got one part that isn't holding up their end, then you no longer have a triangle, you know?
Yeah, it's broken.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed.
So, one thing I learned, and honestly, I'm not really sure how I learned it. It very well could have been a driver. But the honesty piece that you talk of, when things are not going well or there's tension or, maybe you feel like you're not getting something you need, the best thing you can possibly do, and this goes both ways, is just say it out loud. Tell them.
Exactly.
Tell them.
Don't be scared to either.
No. And listen, if somebody is going to take it personal and, react unprofessionally, get upset.
Then we need to get divorced and we'll change the marriage.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's way easier, though.
It is.
It's way easier in that relationship.
No matter how scary it might be. I know plenty of individuals who that's the first thing they go to. They, one, either don't want to, offend or hurt somebody, but two, fear of repercussion. Are they going to hold freight from me or what have you? Absolutely not. Somehow you got to set those worries or concerns aside and you need to say it out loud.
You got to have boundaries.
Yeah.
And if you feel that there's a problem there and you're not communicating well or you're being lied to, you need to hit it head on.
Yeah, call it out.
And I have no problem doing that.
And remember too, like even if it doesn't go well, there's always a step after that you can take too. There
is a step after that, but you also need to bear in mind that sometimes you get off days.
Yeah.
People don't think about that anymore. Maybe a driver's got something going on at home and it's distracting him.
Yeah.
On the same token, maybe the dispatcher has something going on at home and it's distracting them.
Yeah.
So you're going to have good days, bad days.
Yeah.
But if there's something that's going on either end, not to get in their business, but the dispatcher has people within the company they can go to.
Mm-hmm.
And the driver just needs to be straight up with the dispatcher and say, I've got this going on. It's really distracting and disturbing, and it's not that you're trying to use them as a psychoanalyst or anything, but you want to make them aware.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I think that human nature is to be empathetic, right? So I think even just an awareness, to your point, can change an approach, right? Like a dispatcher sometimes, you might be, I had to think of a different word. I almost cussed. I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I might be upset with you, right? And I might be very straightforward and assertive or aggressive when I shouldn't be, because there's a reason for it. And if I only knew, I would have handled it differently.
Well, for a driver, if a driver goes around acting like a jerk, he's going to get treated like a jerk.
Yeah.
If me as your driver, if I treat you like I'm a jerk,
Mm-hmm.
Always rude, yeah, it'll be gone.
Yeah, doesn't take long.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so I got sidetracked a few times maybe.
It's okay.
I apologize. So trip planning, use weather apps, check during stops, slow down, maybe get a little extra space, throw the flashers on, and then get to that safe haven.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I think great advice. Okay, I got a couple questions for you. Would you rather be caught in an approaching tornado or hurricane while you're in your truck? If you had to pick one, what would it be?
I'm not going to get caught in either one.
How did I know you would say neither? I ain't doing it. What if you had to pick one? You got to pick one.
I don't have to pick
Storm's
one.
coming. What's it going to be?
Pelacasa.
Okay, how about this one? Would you rather drive during a severe thunderstorm or snowstorm?
I won't pick either one of those either. I watch it close enough. I know when they're coming. I will park.
You're such a tough nugget. Okay. I got one more, and then I'm over it. I'm done trying with you. Okay. Would you rather tarp and secure a load in 100-degree weather or 0-degree weather?
I would rather not tarp at all.
Oh, my gosh, Tom. Nobody wants to tarp.
No.
But that's all there is. There's nothing but tarp loads. What's it going to be, 100 degrees or 0 degrees?
It doesn't matter to me. Whatever, it's my job. I do my job. So if it's middle of winter and I got a tarp, I got a tarp.
Yeah.
If it's 100 degrees outside,
I feel like and I don't know, but I feel like for me, I'd rather do the 100 degrees. Because I can take as many breaks as I need to, right? You work for 10 minutes, you take a 10-minute break if you have to, right? That's just what you do. You drink water, you hydrate.
Cold weather, if you get cold, you get in the truck warm up.
I know, but those tarps are stiff.
Well, yeah. It's the nature of the beast.
I'd be so mad at those tarps.
I just prefer not to do them anymore.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. I'm running a little tight on time.
I know.
But I need to talk about Shark Week.
Shark Week.
Shark Week. Did you know that July 7th started the week of Shark Week? Did you know Shark Week was a thing?
No, I did not.
It is a thing. It's on the Discovery Channel.
I see.
Yeah. It was originally devoted to conservation efforts of sharks and correcting misconceptions about sharks. Do you like sharks, Tom?
No, I do not.
It's a popular cable TV event.
I do not like sharks.
Why don't you like sharks?
I just do not like them.
Did a shark bite you once?
No. But they have their water and they can keep it, and I'll stay out of it.
Would you ever... Oh, I guess you answered the question. I was going to ask you if you'd ever get in one of those cages so you can, see a shark up close.
No.
No?
I have no desire to see a shark up close.
Sharks are kind of cool.
Yeah, when they're dead.
I don't think that was the intent of the week-long event at all.
No, I don't think it was.
No. I'm pretty sure they wanted to save the sharks.
No.
Sharks are good.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah. Okay, do you know how many bones a shark has?
I don't have a clue.
Well, it was a trick question. They actually don't have any bones. It's all cartilage.
Well, there are people that say that they're good eating too, but I've not tried it.
I've never had shark. I wouldn't know. But aren't they like a delicacy somewhere overseas? They do like what's the thing?
It's all about taste.
It's not just a fin. Isn't a fin like the...
Supposedly there are countries where the fin, the dorsal is
delicacy.
I don't know about delicacy, but they want it.
I don't want it. I have a multiple choice question for you.
Uh-oh.
What does shark skin feel like? A, sandpaper. B, like scaly fish skin. Or C, human skin.
I wouldn't have a clue.
If you got it right, I was going to give you these treats right here. They're little sharks.
Well, I guess I don't get the treats.
Not on that one, you don't. They actually feel like sandpaper.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. I got one more. How many rows of teeth do sharks have? Between 2 and 4, between 4 and 8, or between 5 and 15? Rows of teeth. 2 and 4, 4 and 8.
I would have to guess. So I'm going to say between 4 and 8.
5 and 15. Between 5 and 15 rows of teeth.
That's why they get their water and I don't go in it.
That's why you don't go in the water.
Exactly.
That's it right there. I don't think I'm going in the water with them either.
No, I don't go hunting rattlesnakes either.
No, that wouldn't be on my list of things. It's not a bucket list item for me. I have no desire to play with a rattlesnake.
I don't have snake pets. I don't go
like
looking
any
for
snake.
them.
We have snakes here, but they're not like dangerous.
Well, we have
But I
snakes
still
in
want nothing to
Texas
do with
too,
them.
up to a point.
Until you don't.
Yeah, when they're dead, they're not a point.
All right, so just a quick thank you. I really do appreciate you joining me today.
You're
It was
welcome.
a good time, educational for me, so I appreciate that. I will get you the links so you can find more of this stuff.
Okay.
And I want you to check out next episode. One of the things I want to talk about is must-have gadgets on the truck. What is something you just have to have on the truck? For this episode, I had asked people to share like favorite summer recipes. Turns out nobody really cares about recipes.
Oh, they don't know what they're missing.
I know there's some really good eats out there.
There are. And I love to cook when I'm at home, so.
I love to cook too, but I hate the mess. Hate it. My husband's
part
really
of it.
good. Like, he's always, is there anything I can do to help? You know, he's great about that. And he helps clean up.
There you go.
Yeah. But, you know, I can't sit and watch. So I do the cooking and then, I try to help with the cleanup too. I hate the cleanup. What's your favorite thing to make?
My favorite thing to make, I would say pork chops.
Pork chops?
Yes.
That wouldn't have made it anywhere on my list.
Oh, you've never tried it?
I've never had a good pork chop.
I take and I'll fry them on one side, just sear the meat,
Yep.
turn them upside down in a Pyrex pan,
Yeah.
and I'll sprinkle cinnamon over them.
Cinnamon.
Absolutely.
Really?
Look in the Betty
you only
Crocker.
sear
Look
one
in the Betty
side?
Crocker cookbook.
Oh, Betty Crocker. Well, then you know it's a good eat.
Exactly. You only sear one side.
Betty knows a little something about
Oh,
cooking.
yeah. Then you put some water in there, but you don't cover up the pork chops.
Okay.
And you put other spices with it, whatever you want. Cover it with tin foil, stick it in the oven at 350 for an hour.
Really? And you only sear one side?
Yeah. Comes apart with a fork.
See, and I've never experienced that with a pork chop. Huh. So there are good recipes out there.
There are.
After all. Okay, next time we're going to talk about must-have gadgets on the truck. So be sure to check out that page. I'll send it to you.
I'll do it.
And then, you can share what your gadget is.
I've got a couple of them.
I believe you do. All right, Tom, thank you so much for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.